Hello, my name is Jeff Van Est. I'm Director of Strategic Solutions at LABVANTAGE Solutions, and I have with me Fred Hoffman, who is one of our Solutions Managers. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
Now, you're working on some very specific, I think fairly high-profile projects. One of them is instrument interfacing.
That's correct. So we have a new product that's coming out that's going to be called LABVANTAGE Connect. That's going to be able to connect a wide variety of instrument types. So anything from simple balances all the way up to complex CDS systems or clinical type instruments.
Now, we should mention pretty quickly here that this software package has actually been around for quite a long time.
That's correct. So we actually recently purchased one of our partners, Software Point, who has had this software for quite a number of years and has been using it with the LABVANTAGE product, interfacing in their region that they originally sold it in.
Right. So as far as the representation in the marketplace, I mean, this has been around for a while.
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah, for good customers. Now, you were telling me a little bit earlier that there's been some changes in the industry in regards to the way that instrument interfacing is being handled.
That's correct. So typically, in years past, we've seen a lot of customers who wanted to do their own instrument interfacing. So they wanted to be able to have a general package that they could, purchase and gain the ability to do their own instrument interfacing and get that expertise in-house. And what we're finding now is a lot of customers just don't want to do that. All right. So either they bought the general package and still had the vendor do it, but now they're just looking for that end-to-end solution from the vendor. You know, they want to buy software, they want to buy the services, and they want to have that whole solution themselves.
So what's the elevator pitch? Why do Connect as opposed to having these individuals that are point solutions that are specific to an instrument?
Yeah. So the nice thing, so the point solutions are still valuable because they're designed directly for an interfacing piece of software. So LABVANTAGE is coming out with one specifically for Empower, for instance. All right. So those solutions are still good because they're very detailed to that exact software solution. Connect, the driver-based type of solution is still good for, we're still writing that driver now for that particular piece of software or that particular instrument. All right. So no longer do you have to worry about that generic solution and coming up with, developing your own parser. That driver that we're going to write is going to be directly for that instrument and for the data that comes off that instrument.
Okay. So if I have instrument A, B, and C, the goal is that there's something that already exists?
That's correct. So it may already exist, so we may have drivers already for A and B.
Okay.
But if we don't have a driver for C, we're going to create it for you.
All right. And my understanding is that currently there's a large selection of drivers that exist right now.
That's correct.
Right.
So there's a large variety of types of instrument drivers, so anywhere from the simple instruments up to clinical type blood analyzers, etc., that have already been developed, and we're developing them as we go along.
So there's several different classifications of instruments. Give me an example of some, and how do they differ?
Sure. So if we start at the bottom with what most people call simple instruments. So simple instruments will be things like your balances and pH meters, force gauges, and things like that. They call them simple instruments just because the data they get from them is simple. But they're actually very tricky to interface because there's no metadata that goes along with it. If I do a balance or a pH meter, the only thing I'm getting from the balance is a number. Okay. I have no idea what that number is associated with, what sample it's associated with, what test it's associated with. So all those kind of things make it more difficult to actually interface than some of the other types of instruments. So what we've done is for both the LABVANTAGE product and the Sequence product is we've made it so directly within the results entry screen, there'll be a button there where they can actually get the reading directly from the balance or the pH meter. All right, so now the actual results entry screen gives us the context around those results. Okay, right. And then, they move up in class, so then, you get your typical file-based instruments, which would be things like AAs or ICPs, where at the end of their run, they basically drop a file out, and then we pick up that file and parse it, and then put it into LIMS. And typically, those are what we call black box interfaces. So those black boxes, the interface is never really seen. We just pick up the file, parse the data, and send it directly to LIMS. All right, that all happens behind the scenes, and when the analyst goes in the results entry screen, the results are going to be there. Then you get the more complicated instruments, which are now bidirectional instruments. So things like CDS types of instruments, so Chromatography Data Systems, or clinical type instruments, blood analyzers, etc., where we need to tell what tests we want to run, and what samples we're going to run on it so that the auto sampler knows what's in those individual vials. And then, on the way back, we get the results back again. All right. So those are the most complicated types of instruments, especially those blood analyzers, because a lot of them have special protocols. So you need to send it the data in a very specific format. And when it sends you back the results, you need to do some kind of checksum or some kind of hash to make sure that you sent the values back and it sends you the right ones, etc.
Right. All right. Good. So when is the Connect product available? So
Connect is available today. We have Connect 4.0, which is available for both LABVANTAGE and Sequelin's customers.
Nice.
The one for Sequelin's customer right now is only for those simple instruments. All right. For LABVANTAGE customers, it does do the simple and complex instruments.
Good.
All right. And then we're shortly going to be coming out with Connect 4.1, which will allow you to do complex instruments with Sequelin's as well.
Nice.
As well as some other enhancements. It's all now completely web-based, following the rest of the mantra of the LABVANTAGE technology, as well as allowing customers to do some of their own instrument interfacing if they do want to go down that route, or if they do want to do some changes themselves.
Good. Sounds very powerful.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's been exciting to work with.
It has been, and being able to take an established product like that and being able to do the enhancements to it definitely shortened our life cycle.
Oh, for sure. And my understanding, you've been working with Software Point very closely. They're great people, good partners.
That's correct. They know the ins and outs of the LABVANTAGE product. They're very good Java programmers.
Yeah.
They really know what they're doing.
Well, it's good to have them part of us now. It's nice.
Well, thank you very much. This has given you some information about the new LABVANTAGE Connect product, and we're very excited. And if you have any questions, please contact us, and we would put you in contact with Fred here.
Thank you.